Steel fans? Matty P with Shannon White, as always, part 3, I think we're at now, of this week's Steelers Global Perspective. We wanted to talk quickly around the Steelers coaching hires. The Steelers have made 3 coaching hires today. Big news for the Steelers in terms of refreshing that coaching staff. That went live a couple of hours before we recorded this on the Friday afternoon in the US. So Tom Arth, quarterback's coach, who I'm really shooting. I wanted to bring someone in from the Chargers offense because I'm a big fan of Herbert. Definitely, the Chargers had an interesting situation, but also the Chargers have a lot of similarities in some of the wide receivers and tight ends with the Steelers. They brought in Zach Azzanni, the wide receivers coach. I think, was he in New York?
Yeah, New York Jets.
New York Giants. And then they brought in Mateo Kambui, the offensive assistant, who was at Atlanta, I believe, previously with Arthur Smith, which is very important because Arthur Smith had to bring in someone who he's familiar with, and this allows him to do his job better and focus on learning the Steelers without having to focus just on how he's going to tailor his offense. So all moves I'm really liking, really liking as well. I think the other thing about the quarterback's coach is in a situation with Azzanni, with Zach, I think with his situation, it's quite interesting with the wide receivers just because of the way that the Giants have used the wide receivers.
Well, he was with the Jets.
With the Jets. Oh, with the Jets. That's right. Yeah. So Garrett Wilson. What am I saying here with the Giants? But I mean, that's interesting in its own right. But with guys like Garrett Wilson developing there, there's lots of different guys they've brought in over the last year. So I think it's kind of interesting that they take him out of the Jets mix. I would have thought the Jets didn't do anything for stability reasons, but he gets to come to the Steelers. He gets to work with a bunch of young guys. Obviously, I think that was in a situation too when New York were even looking at a wide receiver in this draft or this offseason. So from my perspective, you get a guy in here that's obviously wanting to build. You get a whole new, fresh perspective. And the thing that strikes me with all these guys, they're all young. I mean, you look at the photos of them. We're not talking about the gray beards.
Yeah.
So
hey, you know what?
That's why I was just stirring you up. It's all about what's in here and how young you feel.
Yes.
I was saying to someone the other day, I feel 25, not 10 years older than that. So, but yeah, how do you feel about these coaches? Is there a particular one that stands out to mind for you? Is there a particular move that you like more than the other one? But I'm really happy with these, particularly a lot happier than I was feeling necessarily when they signed Arthur Smith, but I'm getting more around to the Arthur Smith offense as the days go on.
Yeah, I think we all kind of felt like that. Not because nothing against Arthur Smith, it just wasn't flashy. It wasn't, we all wanted to see more modern. So you think Shanahan, Tree, McVay, but Arthur Smith, what he does is successful. It works if he has the horses. And my concern was when they were talking to him, and we talked about it on one of our podcasts, was the Steelers don't have the offensive line.
Yeah.
They have the skill position guy in the running backs, and they have Pickens, but they also need more receivers. So I'm like, is that going to be their choice? Well, it was. But he's a great fit for Tomlin, like I wrote an article recently about.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. Now they bring in the offensive assistant who previously played center in college. He's coached multiple different positions. So he's very experienced at all levels of NFL offense. Then he knows Smith's offense, and he will be able to help these new coaches, Art and Arizi, and even the guys the Steelers are bringing back, like Faulkner and other guys on offense, Meyer, because it looks like Meyer's going to be back. He'll be able to be a branch, an olive branch, to help each one of these guys. Because, he has a lot of offensive line experience. So, that's going to help Meyer. Because even though Meyer is a zone blocking coach, he's still going to have to adapt it to Smith's offense. So I like that. Now, obviously, I was wanted Hines Ward for wide receivers coach. But, again, it matters. There's rumors that Ward and Tomlin, There's still some hard feelings over some stuff in the past, and you have to have a good working environment there.
Well, and I was going to say it from the analysis too of Arthur Smith. You kind of undermines the wrong word, but you kind of I'm not even using the word de-emasculate, but you make life harder for Arthur Smith if you bring in Hines Ward, right? Like the dynamic I don't think is conducive to. You gotta let, and this is the thing that is across every single professional sport. If you hire someone to do something, and it's the criticism we've had of Tomlin for a while of like the whole yes man thing. You hire someone to do a job, they have to be able to do that job. You can't have people pulling side strings, and it's why I think players that are brought in by their franchise to be coaches, I think it's a very 50-50 proposition. People automatically go, he was a legend for us, he can coach. Yeah. It's like, no, not really.
It has to be the right fit.
Yeah.
And I'm all for, if you're going to hire Arthur Smith, give him control. I mean, let him have the final say in his staff. I mean, you deserve that right if you're going to be the offensive coordinator. So he obviously likes his zany. I know I'm saying it wrong, but the guy's got a ton of experience. He's worked with the Broncos receivers, and those guys improved. He worked with the Jets. Of course, he had Garrett Wilson. I mean, you didn't have to work a lot with Garrett Wilson. He come in pretty NFL ready. But still, you and
I both know you can come in very ready, and then the development path adjusted to and in sync. And his rookie season, the first 6 games, there were a couple of games there. I think he's plus 150 yards in a couple of those games. He was killing it.
Well, if you watched this year with Hard Knocks, which I don't know if you got to watch some of it, but the Jets had that 6th or 7th round receiver rookie that won the first game with the punt return. I can't think of his name.
Yeah.
But he was more of a gadget guy. And by the end of the year, he was catching a lot of passes for the Jets. And his development, if you look at the chart, his development as a receiver went up steadily all year without Aaron Rodgers. They had some bad quarterback play. So I think that shows that he can take a guy and quickly get him acclimated to the professional game. And he seems very young, enthusiastic. I remember Hard Knocks. He was one of them energy guys. So get him out there working with these receivers, because we're going to have some new guys, and teaching them the fundamentals, the yak yards. We need some guys can get yak yards. Yeah, especially in this offense, and the guy's just going to put the effort in blocking.
And it's interesting, I think, with the quarterbacks coach with Tom Arth, because I think I'm probably saying his name too wrong. Tom Arth is right.
That's how I'd say it. Yeah.
There's something about the ARTH this offseason.
Yes.
I mean, I'm
starting to silent sometimes.
Rooney, what's going on here? But the two things I would say that are interesting is the Chargers were top half or better in the league in everything statistically passing, right? So that's a good thing, right? And that was my criticism of Arthur Smith is I want someone into quarterback whisperer. I want someone to be that. So I'm loving that, right? Absolutely loving that. There is one stat about the passing offense at the Chargers, which means everything to me in the fit with this bloke, with Tomlin's philosophy and with Arthur Smith's philosophy. And that is the fact that the Chargers had the lowest interception percentage across the league for the amount of throws they had. At 1.3% of their throws resulted in as an interception. The teams ahead of them or close to them were the Ravens, the Texans, the Cowboys, interestingly the Panthers. The Steelers were at 1.8%. Steelers were 7th best in the league, right? Equal 7th with 4 other teams. But you look at Ravens, Texans, Cowboys, they all made the playoffs. Ravens, Texans obviously going pretty deep. But the Chargers were number 1 in the league with 1.3%. They only had 8 interceptions last year. The Baltimore Ravens were better with 7. And the Texans were also on 8. So you bring that to the Steelers offense, but also you've got a risk-adverse Mike Tomlin. I think in some ways, Arthur Smith, that's why they hired him. And in the way the team is made up, that speaks volumes to me as well. So we're going to see more of the same, Steel fans. It's just going to be on another level. It's going to be run game, tight ends. You're not going to see 5 touchdowns from Kenny Pickett. That's not what it's going to be. But it's going to be efficient. It is going to be smart. And it's going to be mistake-free, play the margins. Except it's just going to be on a whole nother level than what we've seen before.
Oh, they're going to utilize all areas of the field, especially focus on the middle of the field. Something that we've been begging for forever. There's going to be play action.
Kenny Pickett was very, very good at middle of the field.
When they let him do it, yeah. But when they called those
But I'm
plays,
saying in college, he killed it.
But I mean, even last year, his play action numbers were good. The middle of the field was good. But a lot of games, they just didn't have nobody running them routes. But now that's going to change. They're going to be play action from under center. Far less shotgun, far less pistol formation. Running on 3rd and short out of shotgun. I don't want to see that crap no more, unless it's a quarterback sneak. I mean, because it's things that we're going to see, and it's going to seem subtle to the average fan or fans of other teams, but to us, we're going to notice it because it's something that we've been needing for a good while.
I love that. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how these guys install themselves. It'll be interesting to see how they're involved in the draft process. It'll be interesting to look back on free agent pickups and the draft and go, interesting how those guys fit, these coaches as we.
And I'm so glad they did it this week.
Oh,
because now they have time to get ready for the draft. They have time to get ready for the combine and be ready for the pro days. See, if you wait, the longer you wait, you have less time.
Well, we're 3 weeks. We're less than 3 weeks now until combine. So, and also it's important with everyone just goes draft process. It's important with free agents. They need to be able to go, this is a guy that we really liked. Who are you thinking already? All right, this guy can do this guy can do that. Like they'll get a sense of what that offense looks like. But with that, we're going to wrap up this part of our Steelers Global Perspective. We've got another quick part coming to you as well with the draft prospect update. Very excited for that as well. Stay tuned. As always, on this channel, we will be rolling out all sorts of content as we go through the off-season into the 2024 season. Shannon White's been an absolute awesome free agent pickup for us. Maybe not free agent pickup, maybe a loan to us. But I love it. It's been awesome content. But yeah, we will stay tuned for our extra segment this weekend on Steelers draft prospects. All right, well, that's Matty P with Shannon White. As always, go Steelers.